Over the next 30 hours, we are travelling on 3 Air New Zealand flights, including business class on the airline's flagship 787-9. We're visiting the cockpit of that amazing aircraft, visiting 4 airport lounges, or maybe 5, and experiencing how Air New Zealand handles some crazy long flight delays and cancellations. Join us on this roller coaster ride.
Alright, we have made it alive to Sydney Airport despite the best efforts of our driver, who was an absolute maniac in the shuttle bus. And we'll go and check in. We tried to check in online but we couldn't for some reason, so hopefully it all works out fine now. Alright, so we've just come through airport security. We're into the departure lounge now, heading to the Air New Zealand lounge. So far it's been an absolutely chaotic, borderline third world experience. It's taken us 55 minutes. Took us over 20 minutes just to get our boarding passes, even though we're in the premium queue, because they didn't seem to know how to print them out and we couldn't do online check-in. And then it's taken another 35 minutes for us to get through airport security, even standing in the business and first class queue. So not a great start. Let's see if the lounge is better. All right, we're on our way to the airport departure lounge. What airlines do you see? Vietnam Airlines, Cathay Pacific, Air Malaysia, Thai Air, Air Canada at the back there, Delta here in the front. And now we are here at the Air New Zealand International Lounge here in Sydney.
Air New Zealand's lounge here in Sydney seats 299 passengers over 1,450 square metres of floor area. Typical of Air New Zealand's lounges, it is a buffet-style setup where you help yourself to a wide variety of drinks, but also various snacks or more substantial meal options that change throughout the day. There is also a chef on site making some meals to order. The pinky purple vibe you also see on Air New Zealand aircraft is a feature of lighting in all its airport lounges. The views out over the apron are not bad from here, but there's no view of the actual runway. So while Elizabeth and Grace are off discovering the bathroom, I'm enjoying my first crack at breakfast here with Grace's mates.
The other nice thing here is I've already finished it, but you can order a coffee and you order it from your app. You just enter in what you want. Or if you're regular like me, it will actually remember what your previous order was and ask you if you want the same, and then you just go and pick it up around the corner here. Well, this airport lounge is clearly so massive that Grace got lost on her way back from the toilets to where we're sitting. The toilets are over there.
I thought you must have seen something exciting.
Grace, other than me spilling my orange juice everywhere and shattering the glass here a few minutes ago, what's been the highlight for you of the airport lounge so far?
Then I think my favourite would be, I think there's lots of juice selections and there's lots and lots of drinks and stuff.
I've always heard about a large selection of cheese and crackers.
Right, so here we are in the showers in the airport. Grace is having a shower there, fully clothed of course, but it's fully equipped with antipodes, shower products. You've got all the towels you need up here, coat hangers even to hang your things on. So yeah, pretty good. Got your bathroom and everything in here too. Got a hairdryer in the drawer, extra toilet paper, pride of place. And some rubbish bins and a space for used towels. We've even got a seat here that you can sit on while you do your makeup. Right, so our flight has been delayed by 35 minutes. Unsurprisingly, this is quite common with Air New Zealand. They haven't given us an announcement here, but I did see it on the app just by checking because I heard someone else talking about it. So we'll see how we go. We're stuck here for 35 minutes. Could be a worse place to be stuck. At least we're in the lounge. And now I haven't talked about why we have access to the lounge. We have access because we have our credit cards with a bank that gives us air miles on New Zealand. And obviously we do a lot of family travel. And so we managed to rack up some air miles, and so I actually managed to get us business class flights for all three of us for this short journey home. Obviously ordinarily we travel economy. Alright, it's 20 to midday and our flight has just been called. So we're about to head down back into the main terminal to board. As you can see, Grace is dressed up in her smartest, fanciest dress for today on the plane. I have not. Thank you. So this is Sydney Airport on a Sunday, absolute chaos. So we are boarding, it's a 787-9 today. So a lot of the flights between Australia and New Zealand are on narrow bodies, but this is a wide body, of course, which is why they have business class. And we are in seats 7, 8 and 9J today, which will be seats behind each other in the middle row. And Air New Zealand has an unusual business class layout. Some people like it, some people don't. They're actually about to begin an upgrade of their business class seats. But they have a herringbone shape where you sort of face toward other passengers, which is slightly unusual. But we'll check it out. Very nice.
Hi there. How are you? Okay, lovely. Welcome to business class. You're going to go through the galley, turn left. Anyway, welcome.
Thank
Through
you.
the galley.
That side. Cool. We get to turn left today, which is not very common. So here we are at our seats. Number 9, 8 and 7.
You've got your noise cancelling headphones here on your seat, a footrest that also doubles as a seat for your travel companion to come over for a chat in flight, a fold down drink tray here, which has seen better days, and a large screen that folds out for viewing. Cabin crew are already serving pre-flight drinks. I opt for the champagne, but I'm pretty sure Grace chose fruit juice.
Grace washing her face.
Then we go back to economy.
And here we go. Now, one of the negatives of this middle row of seats is you don't get to see much of takeoff and landing. But by the time our upgraded seats were approved, these were the only 3 I could find together, and they are at the very rear of the business class section. As soon as the seatbelt sign is off, the attentive cabin crew are up and serving more drinks. In-flight entertainment is a solid mix of new and classic movies, TV shows and video games, but I'm more interested in the menu. Short flights like this to Auckland from Australia come with this amuse-bouche of smoked fish and with sweet potato puree and chives. It was yummy and it was soon gone. As my appetizer, I had the salmon with potato salad, tomato dressing, green beans and caperberry, although there were vegetarian options too. It was delicious. Grace had the mozzarella with toasted farro, green olive salad and salsa verde. It passed the test. And our main? It was good, but a little bit fatty for my liking. Dessert made up for it though. I had the fig and manuka honey and chocolate ice cream with candled hazelnut and chocolate sauce. Yum. But we've all been waiting for the bathroom tour. It is a little bit of a disappointment. The bathroom in business class seems to be no bigger than in economy on the 787. It's got the same wallpaper detail that you'll often see in economy, a baby change table, and Antipodes hand wash that you'll see across Air New Zealand flights and lounges. But on this short flight, it's time to stow your bags and screens and prepare for landing. Now, before we finish this memorable business class flight, Elizabeth has arranged something special with the flight attendant for after our landing. We're down on the tarmac and making our way to the front of the plane.
How incredible is that, Grace? Look at that. The flight deck of a 787-9. That is very...
going to order us around one day, eh?
That's right. That's the plan.
Don't do that. Turn left.
What is it you want to be, Grace? Yeah, that's been a thing for quite some time. Thank him for the special privilege.
All the best, Grace. Yeah, we look forward to you ordering us around at some stage in the near future.
Here we are off the plane and now making our way through to pick up our bags and to domestic departures for our final flight home.
Here we are arriving at the Air New Zealand Regional Lounge in Auckland, which serves passengers travelling domestically on non-jet services. It's where I spend most of my lounge hours when travelling for work. Again, you've got the barista service you can order on your Air New Zealand app, a wide variety of seating zones and types, and buffet-style food options with various main courses that change depending on the time of the day. One thing I love about this lounge is how close you are to the ATRs and Q300s that park up right outside your window. While we check them out, hit like and tell us in the comments about your best or worst travel experience. You're going to want to subscribe to join us on the 5-country trip we're about to embark on.
So Grace, here we are with another delayed flight at Auckland Airport. But thinking back to our business class flight from Sydney to Auckland earlier today, what was your favourite part of that trip?
Food was really nice, and they had a lot of food, and they brought through two times they brought through a little bit of food, like snacks, and then after that they brought the main course and appetizers and stuff.
The delays got more absurd. Every 15 minutes, the flight notification would update to say the flight was now another 15 minutes delayed. And we weren't the only ones, as you can see. Eventually, I went and asked staff what was really happening, as they were not giving us useful updates. But within a few minutes, they announced that 4 flights had been cancelled entirely.
After delaying our flight for an hour and a half, this is the queue to get flights rebooked. There are no flights today. Everybody wave. This is the queue to try and get rebooked for not today, not tomorrow potentially. No, our flight has been cancelled. We've been in the queue for 30 minutes waiting to get rebooked so far. It looks like we've got at least another hour to wait. And we've heard that there are probably no flights to Palmy until Tuesday. How are you feeling about all this?
I really want to go home today, and that's not going to happen.
Okay, so the saga after our flight was cancelled continues. Basically, there was complete chaos. The ground crew didn't seem to know how to handle 150 people not being able to get on their flights, even though you'd think that would be pretty standard and must have happened before.
I think it was a lot more.
There were no processes. Anyway, eventually we got help, partly because of this blob over here. So we got put in the special assistance queue, which probably cut our wait time by about an hour. Unfortunately, we didn't get very good advice there either. So we were told there were no flights for 2 more days. And we said, well, we'll just get a night's accommodation here and then we'll drive for 7 hours to get home. They said, sure, go and do that and then you can get reimbursed. We went across to the car rental companies and none of them would rent us a car. They said no more one-way rentals out of Auckland because, of course, everyone's trying to get a one-way rental to get home. So we went back. By this stage, Grace was in tears. And the manager at last arrived who actually had some ability to do something. She was fantastic, but just a real pity that it took so long before someone with any actual power to make decisions was allowed to do their job. And
They were very nice.
They were nice, but just couldn't actually help us.
Yeah.
So now she has booked us on a flight tomorrow, so we're still going to have to overnight here in Auckland, to Christchurch, and then we'll double back from Christchurch to Palmerston North. We'll get home tomorrow night, so that'll be a full day late, but at least now we have a plan for getting home tomorrow, assuming no more delays. And this is the hotel that we get to stay at tonight. Thank you, Air New Zealand. At least there's
It's a brand new hotel.
something. It is a brand new hotel. It's only been open for maybe a year or so.
And Mum says it's fancy.
And as you can see, pretty fancy, the Pullman. So hey, you're going to get one more hotel review. How fortunate are you? Alright, here's your beautiful breakfast here at the Pullman Hotel. Hey Grace, looking forward to it. You had a good night's sleep last night, didn't you, after yesterday's disaster?
So here we are at our 3rd Air New Zealand lounge. I don't often get to use this one in Auckland that services passengers travelling on jet rather than regional services. This one's a bit bigger and it's busy here on a Monday morning, filled with business people flying the main routes from Auckland to Wellington or Christchurch. It's got the usual help yourself drink and food options, probably a bit early for champagne as my faith in Air New Zealand to get us home on time has dwindled sharply. There are lots of delicious and healthy options here with plenty of salads, fruit and cereals for breakfast if that's your thing.
Okay, so after some further delays, we're finally being called for our additional flight down to Christchurch. and from there we need to head on to hopefully get our regional connection back to Palmy after this absurd delay. It's going to be pretty busy up here again, I suspect. Elizabeth and Grace have gone on ahead. So we've arrived in sunny Christchurch. Isn't that exciting? This is an extra part of the holiday you didn't think you were going to have.
Cold Christchurch.
Oh, okay. Cold Christchurch is a more accurate description. We stepped off the plane and it feels like it's 3 or 4 degrees colder here, doesn't it?
Yeah.
When I look out the window, it's absolutely grey. Grey and miserable out here. But there's the airport's runway. So now we have another 3 hours waiting here, and then hopefully our flight to Palmy will actually take off later today and the regional flight disruptions will come to an end. Now Christchurch Airport has, in my view, the worst airport lounge for Air New Zealand customers of all the airports in New Zealand. It's the tiniest. It was probably too small the very day they built it. I'll show it to you in a second.
I don't think they built it. I think they forgot about it and added it onto the back of the cafe.
It looks like it. There it is, straight ahead of us. That tiny little space is the entire regional flight lounge for Air New Zealand here behind the wood. We call it the fishbowl because you're basically sitting inside an area with everyone staring in at you. It's quite bizarre. But anyway, we're heading in there now to get some lunch.
But because the fishbowl is so tiny, it turns out you can't bring guests. This will not do.
So we're in our third airport lounge for the day, here in Christchurch, having been to one in Auckland and then having tried to get into the small regional one here in Christchurch, but you can't take any guests in. It's absolutely awful to sit in.
Like the other Air New Zealand lounges, this jet lounge in Christchurch is buffet style. You can help yourself to drinks, and as this is mid-afternoon, snacks of various kinds and volumes are available depending on how hungry you are. I always enjoy the cheese board with crackers. As you can see, there are no hot meal options at this moment because it's around 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
These are the views from the main Air New Zealand lounge here at Christchurch. Alright, almost 24 hours after we were supposed to be boarding our last flight home. Let's hope this time we have a better outcome. We're boarding the flight from Christchurch to Palmerston North. So now we're going to head through a bunch of doors and then down to the regional departure area. Okay, so we're heading now through the departure area to gate number 8 and hopefully onto the plane at last. Alright, for regional flights we just head down this walkway outside onto the turboprops. Alright, are you excited about getting onto this plane, Grace?
Yeah, it's freezing in here.
It is freezing out here. This is Christchurch. There's our plane out there. Another ATR 72600. Electronic devices not permitted out of here, so I'll turn this off as we get to the gate. There it is, and I'll turn it off. Finally, we have made it home.
Why don't we get
to Palmerston North Airport.
So here we are, back in Palmerston North after a roller coaster 30 hours, from the highs of a business class flight and visiting the flight deck of the 787 to the lows of arriving home a day late. But we're not quite home yet. Tell us your thoughts on our experience in the comments below. Remember to like this video, comment and subscribe so you'll be able to join us on our upcoming 5-country, 2-continent trip.
And finally, we've made it home into our own house, 23 hours late. Here are all our bags. And there's one of the cats. Hi, Tinky. Hey, you made it into the first video when we were leaving, and now we're home.